And for the rest of it, as always, you know where to find it. So this is going to be a shorter video. It's going to be a quick coming back to one of the dates that were mentioned in the second KoyNe Greek row, I believe. For that, we have the equivalent in the middle text of the Rosetta Stone, deciphered as the ancient Macedonian Slavyan language. And before you make any fun of that, you might want to check that out and kind of get familiar with the scientific method and what that includes. And also, I would suggest try to search for the Oriental Institute on YouTube or somewhere, where they explain how they decipher the hieroglyphs in some of the demotic scripts. It will get really clear, guys, if you read both of the works, like the tracing the script of the ancient Macedonian done by language and script of the ancient Macedonians done by the Macedonian academics Aristotle Tentov and Tome Boshevski, and the Oriental Institute study of how they decipher, or how the Egyptologists decipher the hieroglyphs and some of the demotic, you would quickly realize that the presumptions used, the hypothesis used before testing something, and pretty much the same, the flow of deciphering an unknown language with a script that's pretty much not used anymore is the same. So if you say that the Macedonian academics method is invalid, you would have to conclude, if you're honest to yourself, you would have to conclude that the Egyptologist method of deciphering the texts is also invalid. Okay, now I am about to tell you, this will be like a single verse mentioning the Greek month, well, actually the Macedonian month in KoyNe and date in KoyNe Greek text and language, and also the Egyptian month and date in KoyNe. And for that, I will read to you the Macedonian equivalent in the Macedonian language from the middle text of the Rosetta Stone. So here we go. If you give me 1 second, let me bring that thing to you here. Hopefully you can see this good. I'm gonna zoom it in. There we go. Cool. So here we got the second row. This is the second row of the Greek text. Okay, so here we have mentioned dates in the second KoyNe Greek row, and so we will start reading it from the English translation of the middle of the Greek text, which is the lowest text of the Rosetta Stone. So here we have, on the 4th day of the Macedonian month Xanthicus, which is equivalent to March, on the 18th day of the Egyptian month Mecheir, a decree. So the Egyptian date of 18th of Mecheir corresponds to the modern time frame of 27th of March, and the same modern date is represented by the 4th of Xanthicus, right? We have 4th of the Macedonian Xanthicus and the 18th day of the Egyptian month Mecheir, which corresponds to the 27th of March in, I believe, Gregorian calendar, the modern calendar that we have. Okay, so far so good. Now, if we claim that the Macedonian deciphering of the middle text of the Rosetta Stone is valid, we should be able to find something that's identical to this. If the dates are missing or they don't match, we're not talking about an objective valid decipherment, right? You would agree to that. Okay, so let's see what we have. Well, first and foremost, I want to tell you something. Per mainstream, they say that there are several possible representations of the middle text. So even they themselves have to kind of struggle and come to the best logical explanation of what the right representation per different translators or deciphers are, right? So this is one representation of that particular text in the middle text of the Rosetta Stone, where it states the this date pretty much, the 4th of Xanthicus or the 18th of Egyptian Mehir, which is the 27th of March, right? So as you can see, I have this kind of highlighted with red to kind of barricade what we're going to talk about. Now the Macedonian academics chose this version right here. Now it is obviously a handwritten representation of whatever was in the stone. Mind you, it was a stone after all that was there for like thousands of years, right? Although it was faced with the face down, we don't know what happened before and when it fell down, like whether there were any damages, which they were, but we will try to do our best, and our Macedonian academics did their best in presenting the most objective results and the most objective method of doing it. So for that, what they did was they've compared other representations and they kind of chose the representations that they're going to go to. Either one, if you choose, like, it will be a good one to go with, right? Because if we have the original damaged, you would kind of infer to the best logical result that you're gaining that makes sense, that's within context, if that makes sense. Now, why I tell you all this? Well, because if you can see, this is a handwritten representation, and note, this is the representation that's kind of digitalized right here. And if you can note for this symbol right here, which is the syllable C, S-I, C. Now, we have a little line here that's pointing downwards, but we don't have that line here, right? So why did our Macedonian academics include that? Well, because we have that line here, right? So you would do that type of due diligence to come up with the best objective method of gaining your results. And so here we have pa, ia, ye, me, ye. This is 1 and this is 8. So this is C on below G. Now if this is a ligature, so what did we say about ligatures? They produce an unwritten sound that's on or belonging to. Now in Macedonian is the word na. So whenever you have a ligature like this, if you have this C here and this is G, you would have on top of C is G. So you would read these as on CG, or in Macedonian, Modern Macedonian or Ancient Macedonian even, it will be na CG. And this is a syllable tsa. So from the beginning we have pa, ia, ye, me, ye, 1-8. Remember, Macedonian is read, Ancient Macedonian is read from right to left. Paia, ye, me, ye, 1-8 or 18. Nasijetsa. Now we have, this is also a ligature right here. So we have sh. This is sh. This is ve. On top of sh is ve. On sh ve. Na sh ve. This is 1 again, and this is a letter V. So it's only a consonant. Whenever you have an inclining sign next to it, it is a consonant. So this is really interesting, and I'll tell you why. But at the very end we say naive. So you see here, it's prevalent in all throughout the text that the letter I represents 1, and sometimes it can be a letter, of course, as letter what we say E or A or I in English, and that's not like exclusively for this text, for this decipherment. It is also the case for most of the ancient languages. They had each letter had a representation, or most of the letters had representations for numbers. Such was the case for the Romans. Now the Romans, it is per mainstream accepted that they've kind of adopted most of the KoyNe Greek language, or maybe Greek, like the old Greek, which is fine. But we have an older script here. This demotic script, so-called, is really old. We find this script in KoyNe, which is 3000 BC. KoyNe is one of the oldest, one of the 4 oldest astronomical observatories in the world, which is located in Republic of Macedonia. But also we have this script located all over Eastern Europe, where the Slavyans are, and also at the specific place called Vinča, today's modern Serbia. Now, Vinča is 6000 BC, mind you. Now, you can go with either, I guess, but this here, 1 and V, which represents number 4, this 1 and 8 represents 18. I mean, what is the number 4 in Latin? Read from left to right is I and V in their letters, right? Macedonian is read from right, the Latin read from left to right is IV. Macedonian read from right to left is IV as well. Just saying. So I don't know who got it from who, but it's the same thing. All right, let's not hang up on that. Let's not kill each other on that, all right? All right, so let's move on. So we got that. So this is the text that we're going to work with. It says, Paia yemeje 1:8 na sijeca na shve 4 naive. All right, let's see what that actually means. Now let me read something in Macedonian first. English speaking friends, be patient please, it's not going to be for too long. So the Macedonian transliteration of this text is Pa, which is up, Ia, which is land, na gornata zemlja, or na goren Egipet, Yemeje, or Meje, na gornata zemlja, na goren Egipet, Meje, Mecheir po egipetski, 18. A на сижееца нашве, а месецот на сите наши жреци 4 4. Right? Па ија јемеје 18 на сижееца нашве 4 наиве. Naivе should be declared, or najavi, or declared beforehand. Now, interesting stuff. Древна македонска традиција е ксантика. Now, the Greek mentioned the Macedonian month Xanthicus, okay? Now, Xanthicus, we have the same tradition called Xantika. It's a festival кој до ден денес се прославува како традиција во делови од Република Македонија. Не во Грција, не знам за во Грција, maybe, може и во Грција, но знам дека во Република Македонија има луѓе што се уште го прославуваат фестивалот Ксантика. Тогаш, за време на тој фестивал се ставаат така наречени мартинки. Macedonians, you know what I'm talking about. Мартинки тие како врвци што се ставаат околу зглоб, што според традицијата заштитуваат од лоши влијанија, односно го прават истото што и некој гледач или што би рекле баач, односно жрец би го правил. Значи месецот на сите жреци, кој може да е тој? Ако следува жреците, баачите го воделе тој фестивал што според KoyNe јазикот се, односно горниот до долниот текст на каменот од Розета, се одржувал во март или во Ксантикус. Тотална кореспонденција. Interesting. Now, English speaking friends, God bless you. Thank you for being so patient and not leaving this video. But let me go on now and kind of translate whatever we had here or in the Greek text. Well, let me remind you what we had in the Greek text. On the 4th day of the Macedonian month Xanthicus, which is March, on the 18th day of the Egyptian month Mecheir, a decree. Now, the Egyptian date of 18th of Mecheir corresponds to the modern time frame of 27 March, and the same modern date is represented by the 4th of Xanthicus. Fair enough. And in Macedonian, ancient Macedonian, we had paia, yemeje, 18, na sijeca, na shve, 4, naive. So, English translation of the ancient Macedonian text will be, in the upper land, paia, or Upper Egypt, in the month Meye. This is how the Macedonians call the Egyptian month Mecher in Egyptian. It is the 18th, and of all of our seers or soothsayers, Jretzi, it is the 4th. Now notice, the Macedonian month here it's not mentioned, but this kind of implies that of the month of all of our soothsayers is the date is 4. So of the month, and it's the 4th day of the month of our soothsayers. Is pretty much what this portion of this text says. Okay, follow me so far. Now, an ancient Macedonian tradition is called Xantika, a festival that is still celebrated as a tradition in parts of Republic of Macedonia even today. So then, when this festival is celebrated in Republic of Macedonia nowadays, so-called martinki are worn on the ankle, on the wrists of your hands. And those are kind of like some little ropes that you tie in here with a lot of collars, which according to tradition protect against bad influences. In example, they do the same thing that a seer or a soothsayer or an ancient priest would do. It follows that the soothsayers then led the festival, which according to the KoyNe was held in March, or Xantikus. So, what was this portion of the text saying? It was saying, and the month of all of our soothsayers, and it is the 4th day of the month of our soothsayers. If the month is not mentioned here, but we know that the big thing of this for the soothsayers back then was to lead that festival that we nowadays call Xantika, then it will logically follow that the month is March. And so whenever the ancient Macedonians said, the month of the soothsayer, they would literally right away knew that month is March, that we know as March. Jretzi or sijeca is also Jretzi is used in some of the Macedonian dialects for a soothsayer, what we would say Baj. And I would kind of imitate what the Bachi do, but it will be too funny and you wouldn't follow me anymore, so I won't do that. Okay, all right, so that's all I got. It's not much. I just wanted to kind of affirm the objectivity of the results because we're having the same dates, and it's really hard to kind of pinpoint not just the names and the places and stuff like that and the context, but on top of that you kind of pinpointing the dates, and not just the dates but the months, inferring to the right months, and everything connects together flawlessly. Okay, so far we're so good. Everything is objective, and I really hope that this will kind of reaffirm the belief in the objectivity of the results that our two Macedonian academics gained by using the scientific method that produced reproducible results, which was the reading of text in Kokino, text in Vincha that I earlier mentioned, text in the two stones of Canopus, which are the of the same kind of dynasty, which is the Ptolemaic dynasty and things like that. So I really hope this presentation did that to you, reaffirmed it, and so hopefully you'll visit me on the next video. So until then, peace out.